In this video, we are going to assess our knowledge in antiretroviral therapy by using some multiple choice questions. To start, the first question, the HIV fusion inhibitor enfuvirtide acts at the site of option A GP120, GP41, P24, CXCR4. The right answer for the question is option number B, GP41. How to approach this question? We know enfuvirtide is the fusion inhibitor. Now look at this picture. Imagine it's a HIV virus. This virus on its envelope containing some polyprotein made up of GP41 and GP120. And look at this. It is the host cell called CD4 cell, which is the target for HIV virus. Now, the first point is enfuvirtide is the fusion inhibitor binding with GP41, thereby not allowing the HIV virus to fuses with the CD4 cell. That is not allowing the virus to join with the CD4 cell. That is fusion inhibitor. And we have one more group of drug called Maravirac, Aplavirac, Vicrivirac, and one more newer drug, Cenicivirac. All these drugs are acting on CCR5 receptor. CCR5 receptor that's seen on the surface of the CD4 cell, thereby not allowing the virus to get attached on the CD4 cell. So the take-home message is there are two important group of entry inhibitors, that is viral entry inhibitors. One is called enfuvirtide acting on viral GP41. Another group is CCR5 blocker like Maravirac, Aplavirac, Vicrivirac. All these are viral entry inhibitors. Question number 2. Which is the HIV antiretroviral orally administered entry inhibitor? Option given are Maravirac, enfuvirtide, rilpivirine, raltegravir. Now, which is the entry inhibitor that to given orally? That's the question. We know among the four options, entry blocker or one is Maravirac, one more drug is enfuvirtide. Only option A and B are the entry blocker. In this, which is given orally? The right answer is Maravirac. Here, very interesting question. Maravirac given orally, whereas enfuvirtide, entry blocker given as an injection subcutaneous route. Remember, the one and only antiretroviral drug given as an injection, that too given as a subcutaneous injection, is enfuvirtide. Very important. Other option, rilpivirine is a NNRTI, raltegravir is a integrase inhibitor, that's are not entry blocker. Coming to question number 3. A 62-year-old man with a human immunodeficiency virus infection is being treated with an antiretroviral regimen containing elvitegravir, gobicistat, emtricitabine, tenofovir disoproxil fumarate, and has achieved sustained undetectable level of HIV RNA. His prescriber would like to change this therapy to elvitegravir, gobicistat, emtricitabine, tenofovir alafenamide. Which information should the prescriber provide to the patient that best to summarize the advantage of tenofovir alafenamide over tenofovir disoproxil fumarate? Very important question, doctor. The answer for the question is option number D, improved renal and bone safety profile. Here, what you should know. First point you should know, whenever I give elvitegravir, I am going to give always along with the gobicistat. So first point, remember, gobicistat is the booster for LVT gravin. That point you should know. Second point you should know is tenofovir. Regarding tenofovir, I'll explain. When you want to study tenofovir, look at this. Tenofovir actually available in two forms. One is called tenofovir disoproxil, called TDF. One more form is tenofovir alafenamide, that is called TAF. There are two formulations. Here, the tenofovir disoproxil causes too much of adverse effect like GI toxicity in the form of abdominal distension and also causing flatulence. That's the most common side effect of tenofovir disoproxil. And the tenofovir disoproxil also causes some kidney damage resulting in Fanconi syndrome, and disturbing the vitamin D activity causes problem in bone mineralization causing osteomalacia problem. So the bone problem and kidney problem are less with tenofovir alafenamide. That's the advantage of tenofovir alafenamide. This point is very important. So, and comparison with the tenofovir disoproxil, tenofovir alafenamide is very good in the sense it has less risk of renal and bone toxicity. Coming to question number 4. A 30-year-old man with a human immunodeficiency virus infection is being treated with an antiretroviral regimen. 4 weeks after initiating therapy, he presents to the emergency department complaining of fever, skin rashes, GI upset. His HLA-B570 test was positive. Which drug is most likely causing all of these symptoms? Options are Zerodin, Abacavir, Efavirenz, and Darunavir. So straightforward question. Remember, if a patient genetic screening test shows HLA-B570 positive mean in that patient don't use Abacavir, because abacavir in this genetic patient causes severe allergy in the form of DRESS, DRESS, that is drug-induced rashes with eosinophilia and systemic symptom also DRESS, drug-induced rashes with eosinophilia with the systemic symptom. Sometimes severe hypersensitivity reaction in the form of Steven-Johnson syndrome. So abacavir in HLA B5701 allele patient dangerous, may cause severe skin allergic reaction in the form of Steven-Johnson syndrome. That's why whenever you want to prescribe abacavir, first thing you have to do genetic screening test and rule out this genetic makeup. And once again, whenever you have a case of presentation like this due to abacavir problem in this patient, never ever do not go for re-challenging with abacavir. Once there is a allergy reaction, the patient should never take abacavir in his lifetime. That's a very important point. Remember, HLA B5701 allele patient having toxicity problem in case of HIV treatment mean always think of abacavir. Question number 5. Oral formulation of this drug should not be used in pregnant AIDS patients because they contain propylene glycol. One of the characteristic adverse effects of this drug is hyperpigmentation of the palm and hands and soles of the feet, especially in African American patients. What could be the drug? It's a straightforward question. A drug causing hyperpigmentation on palm and sole mean always think of emtricitabine. But emtricitabine, one of the very safest anti-retroviral drug, but rarely causing some problem like rashes, all these things. Anyway, remember, it's the least toxic anti-retroviral drug, is safe in pregnancy, rarely causing adverse effect of some GI toxicity and also risk of hyperpigmentation of palm. Question number 6, very straight question. Maximum risk of pancreatitis is present with which one of the following options? Didanosine, lamivudine, zerodine, abacavir. It is a straight question. The answer is didanosine. Remember, didanosine, one of the NRTA. The dose limiting side effect of didanosine means pancreatitis. Whereas lamivudine, best tolerated NRTA, no severe problem at all. Zero would mean always think of myelosuppression. Abacavir always think of allergic reaction, especially in HLA B5701 allele patient. Coming to question number 7, which of the following statement about stavudine is accurate? You should know stavudine, one of the NRTA, worst drug causing maximum lactic acidosis, causing maximum lipodystrophy, causing maximum neuropathy. With this in mind, go for the option. Bone marrow suppression is a dose-limiting adverse effect. It causes marked neurotoxicity. It inhibiting HIV protease. It's a non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor. The right answer, the asking which is the one accurate statement. The answer is it causes severe neurotoxicity. Remember, bone marrow suppression is the dose-limiting side effect of zerodine. Whereas stavudine, we know it's a NRTA, nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor. Question number 8. In antiretroviral therapy, zerodine should not be combined with which one of the following drug? Options are lamivudine, nevirapine, didanosine, stavudine. This is a straight question. We know zerodine should not be added with stavudine because zerodine reduces the intracellular phosphorylation of stavudine. That means zerodine interferes the activation of stavudine, that is mutually antagonistic each other. So this combination is not a good combination. Question number 9. Antiviral drug having dual antiviral activity, that is acting against HIV as well as acting against hepatitis B virus. Among the given options, look at the options: enfuvirtide, emtricitabine, abacavir and entecavir. The right answer is emtricitabine. This is the very important question. What you should know: what are all the antiretroviral useful for hepatitis B virus infection? Mean, think of number 1, lamivudine, number 2, emtricitabine, number 3, tenofovir. These are all antiretroviral drug, but also useful for hepatitis B virus. Today, tenofovir is the first line therapy for hepatitis B virus infection. Remember, that's why when discussing the theory portion, I told that since these are all useful for both HIV and hepatitis B, when you are treating these drugs for HIV infection, imagine if the HIV patient having mild hepatitis B virus infection, mean in that patient, if you stop this drug, hepatitis B virus can get reactivated. So be careful about this point. Then question number 10. Resistant to zerodine develops due to what mechanism? The option given are mutation at the reverse transcriptase enzyme level, increased efflux of the drug from inside the cell, increased metabolism of drug, decreased zerodine triphosphate formation. The right answer is mutation of reverse transcriptase. Remember, the most common cause of resistance of NRT is due to mutation of reverse transcriptase enzyme. Of course, you should know zerodine neither a substrate nor a inhibitor of CYP, so no problem of resistance due to enzymatic degradation. Anyway, remember the most common cause of resistance of NRT is due to mutation of reverse transcriptase enzyme. Question number 11. Which antiretroviral drug class chelates the polyvalent cation and As such, their administration must be separated from antacid by several levels. Options are integrase inhibitor, NNRTA, protease inhibitor, entry inhibitor. The right answer is option A, integrase inhibitor. This is again very important. I'll explain. Look here. Integrase inhibitor like raltegravir, elvitegravir, dolutegravir, all these drugs should be taken either 2 hours before or 6 hours after taking antacid or laxative or sucralfate or any oral supplement that containing cation like ferrous, calcium, aluminum or magnesium, because these cation may cause chelation of integrase inhibitor, thereby reduces the absorption of integrase inhibitor. So, integrase inhibitor should be taken either 2 hours before or 6 hours later after taking any antacid that containing aluminum or magnesium cations. Remember, cation chelates integrase inhibitor, reduces absorption of integrase inhibitors. Question number 12. All are protease inhibitor except. Option given are ritonavir, amprinavir, tenofovir, nelfinavir. This is a very interesting question and important question also. All are protease inhibitor except. Look at actual question is except. First point you should know, protease inhibitor mean always their names will ending with a suffix called navir. Navir. For example, saquinavir, indinavir, like this. So here navir is there, navir is there, navir. So the right answer tenofovir. Tenofovir actually comes under NRTA. Actually, all the NRTs are nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor, whereas tenofovir is the nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor. Anyway, the answer for this question is tenofovir. Now, question number 13. A person is being treated for a human immunodeficiency virus 1. He developed a hypertriglyceridemia and hypercholesterolemia. Most likely drug implicated for this adverse effect is options are ritonavir, raltegravir, diadenosine and efavirenz. The right answer is option A, ritonavir. Remember, ritonavir a protease inhibitor. One of the common side effects of any protease inhibitor is metabolic problem in the form of hypercholesterolemia and hypertriglyceridemia. So remember, among the antiretroviral group of drug, a group of drug causing metabolic problem like hypercholesterolemia or hypertriglyceridemia mean always think of protease inhibitors. Now we are going to discuss some common side effects of all the protease inhibitor. Majority of protease inhibitor causes metabolic problem in the form of hyperglycemia, hyperlipidemia and fat redistribution. Because of fat redistribution, they may cause deposition of fat in the abdomen or in the neck region. It's called lipodystrophy problem. It's a common side effect of majority of protease inhibitor. But in this junction, you should know, among the protease inhibitor, etazenavir having least chance of causing lipodystrophy and least chance of causing metabolic complication. I want to tell one new information. We know protease inhibitor and also like zerodin, stavudin, they also causes lipodystrophy. No? So for treating the abdominal fat in a HIV patient due to lipodystrophy, we are using one drug called tesamorelin. Very important new information. Tesamorelin actually a growth hormone releasing factor analog useful to reduce abdominal fat in a HIV patient with lipodystrophy. Another new information I want to share with you, the point is most of the HIV drugs may cause diarrhea. To control the HIV drug induced diarrhea, we have a newer drug called crofelemer. Very important, we have a new drug called crofelemer. Crofelemer, a newer drug, it's a CFTR inhibitor. CFTR means cystic fibrosis transmembrane regulator. So CFTR blocker, it is useful for treatment of HIV drug-induced diarrhea. That finishes some general information regarding protease inhibitors. Now, question number 14. Mechanism action of fas-ambrinavir. Look at that. Fas-ambrinavir. Navir means protease inhibitor. So, mechanism action of protease inhibitor. Before looking at the option, you should keep in mind all the protease inhibitors are inhibiting viral maturation, inhibiting post-translational cleavage of Pol-Gag polyprotein. So, with this in mind, go to the option inhibiting entry, inhibiting conversion of RNA into DNA, inhibiting attachment of viral DNA to host chromosome, inhibits assembly of viral protein. So straight question, inhibiting assembly of viral protein, thereby inhibiting maturation of viral protein. That's the important mechanism action of protease inhibitors. Question number 15. Which is the protease inhibitor not undergoes metabolism by CYP3A4. Remember, most of the protease inhibitor undergo metabolism by CYP3A4. The only one exception, nelfinavir. Nelfinavir. Nelfinavir undergo metabolism by CYP2C19. That's why in my regular discussion I told that we have one drug called ritonavir. Ritonavir is the most powerful CYP3A4 enzyme inhibitor. Thereby, when you give protease inhibitor along with ritonavir, the other drug level get increases. So we know ritonavir acting as a booster for protease inhibitor, whereas nelfinavir level may not be increased by adding with ritonavir. So message is ritonavir useful to elevate all protease inhibitor level exception nelfinavir because nelfinavir undergoes metabolism by CYP2C19. This is very important MCQ. Question number 16. Following drug acting against HIV2 except. Question is on except. Before going to option, you should know there are two important things, HIV1 and HIV2. What is the difference between HIV1 and HIV2? Actually, HIV2 is the one discovered in West African people, whereas HIV1 is the one worldwide what we see is HIV1. So when I say HIV infection, I mean HIV1. Whereas in West African people, we call HIV2. The difference is the HIV2 is slow in progression. They slowly going for acquired immunodeficiency and slowly developing opportunistic infection. Whereas HIV1 rapidly progresses and rapidly going to state of AIDS and also going to have complications of so many opportunistic infection. So when I say HIV, I mean always HIV1. Whereas in West African people, when I say HIV, it's called HIV2. Now, following drugs acting against HIV2 except. Before looking at the answer, you should know among the antiretroviral drug, remember enfuvirtide, a fusion inhibitor, and NNRT. These two classes of drugs having no role on HIV-2. Remaining antiretroviral drugs are useful for both HIV-1 and 2. Anyway, the take message, enfuvirtide and NNRTI do not useful for treatment of HIV-2. Here, efavirenz is one of the NNRTI, so answer for the question is option C, efavirenz. Coming to question number 17, arrange the antiretroviral drugs based on their order of action of viral replication, from attachment to multiplication. This is again a good question. Before looking at the option, you should know the question. Arrange in order. That means you should know the virus pathology. We know first point is virus getting attaches on the CD4 cell. Second point is viral RNA become DNA. Third point is the DNA going to integrate with the host DNA. Fourth point is newer progeny virus getting assembly and they undergo maturation. It is called attachment to maturation. So in this order you should know. Now looking at the option, the right option is option B, Maravirac, because Maravirac is the entry blocker. And then nevirapine. Nevirapine is a drug inhibiting reverse transcriptase enzyme. And then raltegravir is the integrase enzyme blocker. Ritonavir is a protease emitter. So in that order, you should choose the option. Okay. Match the following. I given drug name and ADR. You just correctly match. Zerovodine. What is the problem? The dose limiting side effect of zerovodine, we know myelosuppression in the form of macrocytic anemia. Important. Diadenosine, the most important dose limit toxicity, pancreatitis. Efavirenz, most important problem, psychosis. And tipirunavir is a protease inhibitor having anticoagulation action, may cause intracranial hemorrhage. If you know this much answer, then you can see the option, then you can choose the correct answer. The answer for the question is option number 1. Option A, option B, like this go for. Okay. Now, question number 19. Which drug is a pharmacokinetic enhancer used to boosting the level of HIV protease inhibitor as well as LVT-gravir? Remember, you should know the two important boosters are, one we have gobicistat, one more drug we have ritonavir. Now the question is, a drug useful for boosting both protease inhibitor and LVT-gravir, always go for gobicistat. Whereas ritonavir useful mainly for boosting the level of protease inhibitor, whereas LVT-gravir level boosted mainly by adding with the gobicistat. And comparing to ritonavir, gobicistat relatively safer drug, but gobicistat as such has no antiviral activity. It's a purely used as a pharmacokinetic enhancer, whereas ritonavir having antiviral action plus booster action. Both actions are there. Question number 20. Monoclonal antibody approved for treating HIV infection is, options are omalizumab, infliximab, ibalizumab, and adarazumab. It's one important question, doctor. The answer for the question is option number C, ibalizumab. Remember, ibalizumab, one of the latest drugs approved for treatment of HIV infection. What is ibalizumab? It's a monoclonal antibody targeting against CD4 cell, thereby inhibiting the entry of virus into CD4 cell. It is called viral entry inhibitor. Remember, one of the latest drug approved for treatment of HIV infection is ibalizumab. Coming to other option, look at the option A, omalizumab. What is omalizumab? It's a monoclonal antibody targeting against IgE, useful for treatment of bronchial asthma. Whereas option B, infliximab. Infliximab, a monoclonal antibody targeting against TNF alpha. It's called TNF alpha blocker, useful for so many immunological conditions, especially it's a very good drug useful for rheumatoid arthritis. Coming to option number D, idarazizumab. It's the latest drug. Actually, it's an antidote for treating the problem of oral anticoagulant, the so-called dabigatran. Remember, dabigatran is the oral anticoagulant acting as a direct thrombin inhibitor, say direct 2A inhibitor. Since it's anticoagulant, it may cause side effect of bleeding. So to control the bleeding due to dabigatran, the specific antidote is idarazizumab, one latest MCQ, latest point also. That means coming to my chapter, the newer monoclonal antibody useful for treatment of HIV infection means think of ibalizumab. That finishes some important MCQs on antiretroviral therapy.